Who's fighting who here? Nice brown. Yesterday, 2 days ago, we got 6-8 inches of snow. Today's the day before summer. What day is it?
19th.
Is it summer solstice today?
Yesterday, I
Was it? Okay, cut. So as you can see, this is about the most open spot we're going to find. And it was 2 days ago, and I think with summer solstice, we got 8 inches of snow, hail, storms, dropped down to the 40s. So today's the first day we've had sun in about 3 days. Just I'm really curious how active the bugs are, so we decided to come out and just shoot right here and see what happens. But I really want to see how active the fish are because of that super cold day, or 2.5 days really. I want to see if they're moving, see if there's any caddis out, just play around and look. Like I said, if they get on these streamers, it's an absolute blast, but I won't waste all day on it because there's a lot of other things out there. I think I should have got more fish in there. I only touched one. So I'm gonna throw something else on. I really feel like they should be active more than I'm getting right there. Even though it's kind of windy, I still should be able to get, this isn't that windy. And I'm just gonna do a check on something. Again, I wanna see how active the bugs are. I've had 2 little fish eat that caddis. And so I'm gonna get a little lower now. And all I'm doing, I just tied above my stonefly, tied on, I just used a clinch knot. And I tied a piece of mono on that, right on my line. So you'll see, it's right above the fly. And I'm gonna do a drop shot system where I just come in here. You don't really have to put a knot in this. And I'm gonna keep it about 6 inches from the fly. And now I want to kind of bump around that bottom a little bit more than I have been. With the wind the way it is, using a regular fly line, not having the long Euro type system that you would use. When you use those systems, you get down quicker. That's all it is to it. But the wind's kind of pushing my line around quite a bit. I'm gonna just do a test. I wanted to test for stoneflies anyway, see if they get on them. So I put that split shot right on, not eye to eye, but just above. It slides up and down, right? So it's just gonna slide down, bump into the fly itself. And now I can check for bottom, so when you do that, that's one of the advantages. Drop shot has an advantage over Euro in that when I hit bottom with my Euro system, when I was using the 2 jigs, my bottom fly was touching the bottom. And that usually means they're not gonna eat that bottom fly. And when you're really good at it, you can kind of hit the bottom and then pick it up and suspend it a little bit. With this, I can hit the bottom of my lead, and I know that my fly is above that, so that it's in the feeding zone. They don't tend to fish or feed with their mouth right on the bottom. They like to be off the bottom. So I did 3 casts through there, and I never touched bottom. And that's what I said, when in doubt, add a split shot. So that when I lead it like this now, when I feel bottom right there, just touched, you saw it, my line moved a little bit, I can touch it barely, And I know that by adding that shot, I got down where I wanted to be. And then I can just, every time I see my line move, touch, I just give it a, try to be, what you're trying to do is just bust your fly or your lead off the bottom, but not have it go up through the water crazy like that. And so because that wind's kind of pushing me, I get a little better feel with this. I'd say if you're a superstar Euro person, you already know that how to adapt to that, but you wouldn't be using a heavy fly line and all that so it doesn't get pushed around. I don't know if that's the second time there's moss floating out there. Actually, you feel that moss hit, and I strike on it because I don't know if it's a fish or moss. But so it's a sensitive, both systems are sensitive. Much like the Euro nymphers themselves. Woo! There goes another one of those things. Right now I wouldn't want to have to deal with one of them kicking my ass though. It's a whitey fest. Come here. Not a good sign when you keep catching whiteys. I was just changing flies. My fly was hanging on my little finger and I felt it and I looked down and this caddis was on my hand. It was stuck to the moss in my fly. So just to do a little hatch matching, this thing doesn't mean it was moving around because it was in the moss. I'm just going to put a little caddis about the same size, one of the two of these. Try a little bigger one to start and just see what happens. Every fish we've touched has been on a caddis, but I'm not seeing anything. So I'm just going to put one. I generally do different styles of flies. So I've got I put on a fly to imitate possible smaller stones, like a Sally nymph or something. But I'm just going to keep swapping around. I got a feeling, because we did get a couple whitefish, I got a feeling that's not usually a good thing when you start catching whiteys. Let me just see if that's the fly or just what it is. I'm confident that we're on bottom. Everything's how it should be. Just whether they want to bite. He wanted to bite. If that's on the caddis, that was the second cast with the caddis. Come here. It is. It's on the upper caddis. So that fish came in, or that fly came in that I changed, and these are all barbless. So that fish came in, the fly came in, I was changing it. It just felt like we should be getting fish. Put the fly on the upper fly because it's a caddis, and I was just hoping with all the other trout that ate have been on that. So the second cast with the one that was very close to what was stuck on the fly, we get a fish. If you know you're in good water and that happens to you, like I know there's fish right here, so I'm going to drop back where I was. I just want to see if I pick up a fish in this run, which I've been standing on, it'll tell me that it's the fly, right? It'll tell you if suddenly I came down here and just pow, started hitting fish, it would tell me I was on it, that was the fly and not just dumb luck or whatever. But that was that one just ate right there. It was a little one, but it was on the caddis again. So I just switched up, came up here. We kind of beat that run up pretty hard. Got a few here and there. But when we switched to caddis, it started happening. So I'm going to run this upper water here. Still naked, don't have an indicator, just kind of running it by feel. Kind of old school. An indicator in here wouldn't hurt because of the wind. Kind of died on us right now for a minute, but it's been blowing upstream, and when the wind blows upstream, it lifts your line up. If you're holding it up, it lifts it up so you don't really get contact with the bottom, changes your flies where they should be. And so it kind of died for us, so I can leave my line a little bit closer to the water. This is pretty deep right here. We'll just work up to this edge, see if we can. I put on a double caddis now. I think I said that, but I went to a double caddis. I put a bigger one down below and a smaller one up above. What I really want to do is, I still want to jig these. I still want to run that little bright streamer. But I get too many people saying, catch more fish. Ooh, that one almost pulled it out of my hand. I'm having to cast a little further upstream than I want to get, because this is deep right here and it's pretty fast. It's kind of deceiving. It looks like a real placid. It's moving in there. Man, I'm not liking all these whiteys. Yeah, that's a big one. Come off like the rest of them. The beauty of barbless hooks. We're getting a lot of whitefish. We're not filming them all, but we're getting a lot of whitefish. And I don't usually play that whole barometer thing too heavily. I know it has a factor, but usually when there's something up with the barometer and the pressure system's changing, the whitefish, I mean, I always think of it as, that's another whitey. When you start getting whitefish after whitefish, come on, fall off of there. What I tell people in the shop usually is that I just don't think they, for whatever reason, maybe it's they don't feel it like the trout does, and they're more active to the fly. Usually you'll still mix in trout with it, but when you get a lot of, we've been here maybe 5 minutes, and that's the 5th whitefish, I think. And I think they just beat the trout to the fly. I think the trout get a little lazy. I don't know if it makes them feel weird or what, but they just seem to get beat to the fly. And if you stick it out, you'll sort through the whiteys, but it isn't usually a stellar day when you have a lot of whitefish. And like I said, I have nobody knows for sure if it's, they're still fish. You would think they both would respond to the barometric pressure the same. But when the whitefish are doing that, you'll see them. When I was coming up below there, I had 2 fish jet out after the fly, and they're both whiteys. They don't usually do that. Trout will do that. They'll move quick, but so they just get more active, I think. That feels like a real one. Probably should care about landing those more. The good news is the fish are more active than when we started. We figured it out that it was caddis. The wind died a little bit for me right here, so I can get a little better feel on this. The bad news is the whiteys are attacking. Braden's going to show you something, what I'm doing here, because I'm throwing pretty far up because it's pretty smooth up there. I want to stay back a little bit. I'm naked fishing, meaning I don't have an indicator, and so I'm trying not to plop here, and I got trees over my head. If you notice, I keep dropping back and hitting the water and letting the water load my line, so I don't have to do, you should never false cast with lead. You should be able to do it with one cast. So if I do this, I'm short right here. So I just let it go back, let the water grab it, and come back forward. You have 100% more accuracy than trying to roll cast a split shot. And you can just go like this, let it roll out. It's very simple.
Hey everybody, I'm the camera guy Braden. I just wanted to give you a little casting tip on water loading. The key to water loading is understanding that fly line doesn't like to change direction. So a method that I like to use to figure out where I need to drop my anchor behind me is the bazooka method. So if you put your fly rod on your shoulder like a bazooka and think about where you want to cast. So if I want to throw it up inside here, my anchor has to be along the same line as the rod. So that means it's going to be straight back behind me. Now if I want to throw out further, which right here there's zero reason to do it, the water's so big. But if I want to throw out further, then my anchor is going to have to be closer to shore so that my line can travel in a straight line. So for example, if I want to go out, I'm going to drop my anchor closer back to shore behind me, and that way I can throw out. Versus if I want to throw in, I'm going to set my anchor down below me, and it's just a slow pickup to tension and a roll. It's really, really easy. A lot of people try to throw it, just drop it, a slow pickup to tension, and just flip it over. That's it. I hope that helps you out.
This would, that thing took off sideways. I was just going to say, there's no harm in throwing an indicator in here. I don't know why, I run them sometimes, I just prefer to go, but that fish right there I missed badly because he ate it somewhere going on the way down. I probably would have seen that fish eat it if I had an indicator on. The other thing about right now with trying to roll cast, I'm trying to get out there. You see the wind now is picking my line up. So when I go like this to roll, it pushes the line through my rod. So when I go to roll, it has a tendency, it'll catch your line even as it rolls out if it's a really big wind, and you'll get a knot in your line. So again, all I got to do is hit that water behind me. Right here, so if the wind casts, it basically pushes it against your rod. Even if it goes past you, it has a tendency to push it through. I drop it down there in the water and I can just lay it anywhere I want. It's just like a really perfect back cast. I've got a 2 caddis system on right now. I put a shiny one on and a duller one, and I'd simply tied with a clinch knot, nothing more, between the two, and that just slides up and down. And so it won't slide while you're fishing it, but I do that a lot because if I want to change this bottom fly, and we used to go eye to eye with that. We would drop it out of the eye, we'd put our lead, and I started doing this with it's just a clinch knot with a 6-inch piece of lead, or a line that I hooked the lead to. And then when I want to change flies, I just slide it up, change the bottom fly, and just let this slide down. And there you're right in line again. It's super simple, it's fast, It's more efficient because you don't have to change. If you want to change that bottom fly and you have it eye to eye, you got to change the lead line and that one. And it's just really easy to work with this way. I put a bright caddis on and a dull caddis on. When the caddis are moving and pupating, which I haven't seen one yet, they're bright. One thing you can sometimes, and if I get one more on this, I'm going to change it. One more whitefish. Whitefish go to shine, man. If you want to be the whitefish god, you put on a lightning bug. That thing, they can't help themselves. But I like that shine to the pupating caddis when they're moving, and they should be moving by now. I have not seen one yet today, but they're eating that duller caddis pretty well, and the whiteys are kind of targeting on that bright one. And and when I tell people this, like if I'm doing a seminar and we're talking about nymph fishing, I always put the bright fly above the bottom fly, because when they first take off from the bottom, when they're going to start to pupate, they're really dull still, and your brighter one should be above it. I put that, just because I didn't feel like changing it, I put that shiny one on the bottom, and almost every one of those whiteys ate the shiny one. So if you take it off, you got a better chance of not catching as many whiteys. I'm fishing really skinny here, so I'm not as worried. I'm real shallow right now when I get on this side. But if I get one more whitefish, I'll switch that to a duller fly. Also, when you're fishing caddis, or for that matter, a lot of mayflies get a little bit of shine in their thorax when they're emerging. If you see fish moving, it doesn't, like if you see something underwater, it behooves you to put something a little brighter up on that mid-fly. It usually tells you when you see movement like that, or maybe the bugs, you're starting to see them, they're usually, the shinier fly up above is more accurate, and it'll also tell you that usually you'll start getting if you start getting them all on your upper fly, you're fishing below your fish. So if you keep that sparkle higher, you'll generally catch more fish when they're moving up. If I had to guess, that's a re-rig. Might go to a little bigger one. You shouldn't put this lead in your mouth.
Just waiting for it.
You'll end up as goofy as Johnny if you put that stuff in your mouth. All right, let's see if there's a trout in here. We've got all the whiteys out of the way. We've been whitefish assassinated. I'm really shallow right there, about 1.5 feet. So I'm kind of leading those flies just a little bit. Got tension on the line. I can hook bottom again. That's a whole rig. Normally, I would say that right there is not a great holding water, right? It's coming around that big current's kind of circulating, it's coming off this side, and it's doing this tumble. If you get a caddis emergence or a mayfly emergence, or caddis pupation, they're all coming up. Sometimes you look at these, don't rush through them. If you can see there's somehow a soft spot underneath it, this is a great example. The bugs get tumbled in there. In particular, rainbows love to sit in those, and they'll zoom back and forth because so many bugs get caught up in that eddy right there, and it actually goes kind of under and like this, goes counterclockwise up towards that rock, or clockwise, excuse me, up like that. And so don't race past those if you know there's a lot of bugs around. It's every time you find it when it's happening, your fly will almost just barely hit and boom, you'll have a hit. And you'll see fish down there like slashing at the bugs. So don't race through it. I made a cast up there kind of nonchalantly and had a hit instantly. And so just kind of wouldn't expect it right now because there's no bugs. But anything getting dislodged is going to get caught up in these. Don't waste a lot of time on them, but don't run past them either. And you can generally stand right on top of them in these types of runs. And it's better if you do because your flies aren't going to, because there's so much, I just had another, maybe a bump, I'm not sure. But because there's so much mix of stuff going back and forth, it's really hard to detect the strikes, but luckily they usually bite it and gives you a pretty good, they're on the run when they hit it. You should come around in a circle for me. Little fish, but if he goes out in that big water, he'd have been gone in a second. Ate the shinier bug. We put it up above. Some pretty shallow water up there too. We put that shinier bug on there. We were talking about it. We threw up there, saw that fish go like this and hit it before. I mean, you saw him coming at it. I was just about to say, when we were up there, this is one pool in particular. Before you run into it, we were standing here re-rigging. But if you watch, if you can get water, you can see the fish moving. Particular if there's an emergence or if you fish, the caddis or the mayfly, whatever's coming off, you'll see them dart. You'll see this little movement. I saw one below it, didn't get it, and then that one threw up. I didn't see him at that point, and he just shot over and grabbed that thing. So they're hip to the fact that the caddis are here moving. We're not seeing any fly, but they have to be moving to have fish doing that up there. Brown trout. Where do you suppose he's going to go? Well, who's fighting who here? I don't think he wants to go down any more than I do. Oh, I'm back here. Stop all that nonsense. Nice brown. And my finger. Oofta. Huh? Yeah. I slid off that rock when I was laying there. I did the splits and I'm like, I can't really move. Oh well.
Where'd that fish come from?
Right there. He was, made a mess of things. He came, well, I was behind that rock and he was in that, right on that edge right there. Well, we had a pretty fair afternoon. We fished for about 2 hours. We hit my intent was to go up and jig them up, but I kind of had a feeling with this cold front that just came through wasn't going to work. But I hope you figured some stuff out there with we got lucky. We brought in a fly and it had some moss on it, which if you pay attention, that happens a lot. And we saw the caddis that was in it. We put that caddis on, we matched it. Almost instantly, we started getting fish. Unfortunately, we were getting a hell of a lot of whiteys. And whitey bites usually mean you're going to have a little rougher trout bite. But we got a few nice trout too. We just started doing double nymph rig, naked, no indicator, no sighters, no nothing like that. Just because we started out with a dry line to fish. My intent was today, because I like to do it, I was going to just fish that little minnows about this long on a jig style or a micro dungeon or something like that. But we end up mostly nymphing. I think you got some good information, just about where you put the flies, brighter day, brighter fly up high, stuff like that. Anyway, it was a good time. We fished a couple hours, kind of got cold on us, so we're going to bail out. Hope you liked it. Hope it helps you out. Don't forget what?
Don't forget, like and subscribe.
And don't forget, like and subscribe. That's 2 or 3 times now I've remembered to say that. Thank you.